Hello and welcome to DPN TV here at the DPN Car Collection, and I thought I'd do this little video. One of the things that we wanted to get sorted out straight away so it doesn't become damaged is the spare key fob. It's the type of key fob with the key blade in it, and as you can see, the rubber buttons have worn away and completely been pushed in, which must take quite a bit of wear to do that, I would have thought. So what we've done is, because the blade is okay and the circuitry's working okay, we've bought just a new top part of the key, and as you can see, it's got the buttons already in it, the rubber buttons there. So once you change it over, it's more or less like a new key fob. You won't be able to do this if these buttons aren't working. This isn't going to sort out that problem. You'd probably need a completely new key fob tuned in, which I know costs a lot of money. Or they do sell these little buttons that you can unsolder them and solder the new ones in, which I'm not quite sure how successful you'd be. I've no doubt it can be done, but you'd want to be pretty sure you didn't damage your key fob further when doing that. Now, I've already sort of took this to bits to make it easier for the filming, but basically, like on this one, the key fob comes apart, and what you need to do is very carefully with a screwdriver just put it in the side and lever it, and then put it in this side and lever it. And as you can see, it comes apart. It's coming apart a lot easier because I've already done it, and that reveals you the two halves. And I don't throw this half away because it's got a little chip in it, and this chip here is the chip that allows your car to start. So when you turn the key, the immobiliser, I think, sends a signal out, and this sends one back to say it's okay to start. So don't discard that. And again, with a little screwdriver, just very carefully prise this chip out, and you don't want to lose this chip. So what I'm going to do is I've got a little tape roll here, and I'm going to put that in there so I don't lose that. And now that bit is sorted out. The next thing to do is to take your circuit board out, and what you've got here is two little plastic clips, one there and one there. So again, if you just tease them with the screwdriver, being very careful, and then your little circuit board will ease out. And again, I'll put that in there, so that's nice and safe. So the next thing I'm going to do is put this little chip back into the back of the new key fob, making sure it's the right way round, and just dropping it in and pushing it right down and in, and that just makes sure that that is less likely to get lost while we do the other parts. So I can put that out the way, knowing that is relatively safe in there. Now all you need to do is remove the blade from here and put it into your new key fob top piece. So that's what we're going to do next. Alright, so as you can see, I've now got the blade separate from this key ring. Really, it's a very sort of brutal way of doing it, but as I say, it's the only way we know how to do it at the moment. And you can see where I've managed to cut it and snap away. You can just about see the bottom of the bit of plastic, which obviously you don't want to damage. Now we've got to try and cut away from the side. Now if you can see, here's the little lugs. You don't want to cut that side. We're going to start nibbling away at this side, and then you can tease this blade out. I've nibbled a little bit more away, and again we're keeping the lug untouched, and this side run straight along the key. So what I do now is start to make a cut mark here, so you can get the little sort of cutters in and try and break this away. So as you can see now, it's starting to come apart just by cutting it, teasing it away, and this happens different every time. And you can now see I'm able to break the rest of the casing away from the plastic that's joined to this key blade, so it will fit into the next one, and it should just sort of break off and come away. Go, and that's all come away nicely. You can see hopefully there's the little slot down that side and that side, but this side was flat, which was how I was able to cut it and break the sort of seal and glue away, and it's now ready to go into this key. And again, there's the slot there, and you've got the slot on the blade, and they line up and go in. Now that is normally quite a tight fit, but to make sure it doesn't come out, and as I say, the originals look like they were glued as well, I use a little bit of glue in here just to make sure that's not going to come out, and also make sure there's no plastic left on here from the casing, which on this one it's come away very clean. On the last one I did, it was a lot more difficult to get it away. As I say, each time it's different, but that's how we get the blade out of the old keyring. So we've managed to get the blade out of the keyring, and that was quite a task, very fiddly, but it consists of the blade, this little pin, and this little insert. So what I'm now going to do is put this back over the blade like that, and then we're going to put this pin back through, and this plastic clip then will insert back into the new keyring. And then it's just a case of tapping this little pin back through the key. So that's the little plastic clip now back on the bladed key. So now it's a case of just reattaching it to this. And what I've done, really just to make sure, I know glue won't actually hold this in, it's the clip, but what I'm hoping is that the glue will sort of set round it and make sure it can't easily come out. I mean, it could cause problems in the future if ever you needed to change it, but I'm not planning on changing the key ring or the key fob that often. I'd rather know that some glue will set around it and make a much tighter fitting and seal. And that's good, because I've heard that click in, so none of the plastic hopefully was damaged, and that glue will just sort of expand in there and make sure that it can't easily come out, and I will feel happier with that. Now it's just a case of putting the electronics part back in. Right, so one other bit I wanted to cover a little bit more detail, and a tip I've found since replacing the key fobs with the aftermarket ones, is on the two rubber buttons. If I just turn it over, you'll probably recognise it more there. The unlock button, which is this one, has like a very small little teeny piece of rubber sticking up, and I assume they put that there to make sure the button made contact with the little button on the circuit board, but for some reason they made that bit of rubber too high, or it's a fault in the mould. And what we found is when you put all the keyring back together, the unlock button is permanently being pushed, which will cause the doors to want to keep unlocking, or you'll get nuisance triggers where you only have to just more or less pick the keyring up and the doors are unlocked. So what we now do is with a little pair of these sort of snips, is get right in there and cut that little bit of rubber down so it's level with like the little cross you can see. So I'll just get these snips on that piece of rubber, push not hard but get it really in, and hopefully as it focuses you'll see that I'm just snipping that off. It is a real sort of job to show that you sort of get in there and snip and pull it away. So job to really show you, but this makes all the difference when you put it back together. So now I've removed that little bit of plastic, and what I also do, just to make sure I've got any other bits, is with a little bit of sandpaper, wet and dry, is just gently rub that bit of rubber. I'll do it a little bit more off camera, just to really get that sanded down so it's level and nice and smooth. And we really find that makes a difference, because it's quite frustrating, it was for us, to get it all back together the first time and find there was a problem. So that's well worth doing with these aftermarket key fobs. Just snip that little bit of rubber off and rub it down flat so it's level with like the bigger part with a cross on, and you'll find it will operate just like the original key fobs do. So now it's time to get the circuit board back in. So with the electronics part of the key ring, you can see it matches the shape, so that's easy to get that round the right way. And then it's a case of easing it in at an angle to go underneath the first clip, and then just a case of gently pushing it down so that it clips into the other clip, and that's now held in. Of course we've got the new back, and the chip is in there nice and held in and not going to come out. So now it's a case of putting that back in. Now the batteries in this do appear to be quite good, but if you are thinking of changing it, hopefully you can see that on another camera, it's a CR2032 and it's 3 volt, and it's just a case of prizing that out of the keyring to change the battery. And that's it all clipped together. So that's now got the original blade in, so that didn't need cutting. We've changed the chip and the electronics, and we've got the nice new button. Now what I would advise is only doing one key at a time, and then going and testing that that key does actually work, because the worst thing to do is to do both keys and find that somehow you've damaged them and you've got no way of getting in your car. So make sure the one you've done works and opens the car, and then once you're sure that, move on to change the key ring on the other car. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of an insight. Fairly smoothly to do. As I say, the only problem was getting this blade out, and that was a real fiddle, and it could be this key ring was a bit tight, so I don't think that will always be the problem you have. But apart from that, yeah, fairly straightforward to do, and hope that gives you an insight on how to do it if you're going to do it. As always, don't forget to check out our other videos and subscribe